friends, welcome back to Amanda's Bookish Adventures. It is day 22 of Bookmas, and I want to talk about my reading goals for 2023. So when I started the year, I started my reading goal at 200 books. In 2019 and 2020, and, well, no, 20 and 2021, I was able to get 230 books. I was like, well, I'll just set my Goodreads goal at 200. Thinking I can do it. And that's when I think I messed up, because I put so much pressure at 200 that where I am now, I don't know if I'm gonna finish my reading goal of the year. I'm at 155 books, so this is, as I've said in many videos, this is pre-filmed, so hopefully I finished it. I put so much pressure on the 200 thinking I can do it. Sometimes I think in 20 and 2021, I only had one book slump each year. I've had 3 this year, which I think has been the downfall of when I set that number high. I put so much pressure on it. My most fabulous reading month of the year was January. I read 30 plus books. I read manga, graphic novels, and books, and I was so excited, and I did so good. And then February I did good. I slagged so hard on March. I was barely able to finish the spring equinox version of Aurelium. I did kind of go good for a while, but I kept watching that number of trying to push myself to get higher each month. And then the pressure was on, and then I couldn't find anything I wanted to read. So March was the first one. I did really okay in April. June, I had another reading slump, and it wasn't that bad. I was able to at least read maybe 5 or 10 things, and I was more interested in what I was reading. And July I was doing pretty good, and then August hit. And August was hard. I was trying to find things to read for Aurelium fall equinox, and if it wasn't for manga and graphic novels, I don't know if I would succeed. I read one book, and it was a big highlight. One Last Stop. I loved it. I absolutely adored it. It made me back in the reading mood. Then September rolls around. I didn't read anything till the end. Maybe 2 books at the beginning of the month. The last week of September is when I read everything. And it worked, and I was putting pressure. I was doing a lot of stuff and a lot of things I did not want to read. Got a new game. I was enjoying it. I'm still enjoying the game, but I did pick up reading again. But that number of getting 200, I think, made the slumps, because I was pressuring myself to read things I didn't want, and then I would put it down, or things I wasn't in the mood for, so I DNF it. So for 2023, we are going back down to 100 books, because by the time June rolls around, or July of 2021 and 2020, I hit 100 books in June, or well, July. So taking that pressure off myself so I don't have anxiety is the biggest key for 2023. Another thing is sequels. I think I said it in the video in January of this year that, I'm gonna read a bunch of sequels. I had it all planned out. I've only read a couple, but I'm gonna get back to reading sequels. That is one of my goals. Binging series, I've seemed to love it more, because I want to finish binging complete series, because I took maybe 2 weeks and I did a vlog and I read the entire series but the novella, because it would have spoiled the next series in that world. I didn't forget anything, and that's why I think my problem is with sequels. You wait as they come out, and then by the point they come out and I get it, I don't want to read it because I don't remember it. I have to reread the first one, and I've done that with Skyward and The Cruel Prince. So I've read the first one of both those series, and then I bought all the sequels. Got them for my birthday or Christmas, but I bought them, or I got them and / bought, and I haven't wanted to pick it up because I know I have to reread the first book. So I am planning on reading them next year. I am planning also to reread a bunch, just for enjoyment, things I know I'm gonna love, at least one a month or every other month, just so it takes the pressure off of finding something new to read. I think rereads will help me a bunch next year. But I do have a problem. So for the last, I'm going to say 3 years, my TBR has of physical books I own has been at 80 and 90 books. And then I go to the library trying to save myself money, and then I read a bunch of the library books, only read a few of my books, and then it keeps adding on. So my goal for next year is to get down to 40 books. I know Christmas is coming and my birthday's in February, and I buy a book every other month, maybe a couple in 1 month. So the goal is at least to get to 40 books and unhaul the ones I don't want to keep. If I'm not going to reread it, and I also have to go with the books I already own, have to go back and say, am I going to reread this again? Do I have the urge to reread it again? If not, it has to go so I can make more room. Because I think that's another pressure. I'm buying, but I have already had books that have sat here for years. I'm still going to go to the library, but I'm going to limit how many times I go. I also am going to do readathons, but I tend to notice I love the Aurelium. I love doing pull-a-thon. I love the season-a-thons, which I'm probably doing one now. I don't know the name of it. They haven't released the information for the winter one. But yes, I think Becca's 48 Bookopoly edition I do really good with. The entire month of September, when she does the whole month of Roll As You Go, I don't do good. So I didn't even attempt to do it this September. I tried, I rolled. I just didn't do it. I didn't follow through. I didn't read any of the stuff for. And yeah, so I might avoid Bookopoly in September and just do the 48-hour edition because I do so well at that. And I'm going to limit to the ones I do because I want to support a bunch of book creators, doing BookTube, talking to the community. But it gets a lot trying to find a book for a prompt. I'm just going to go with the ones I really like and just go throughout the year just doing what I read and not putting so much pressure. Like reading a certain amount of pages a day I think will help and not help me not get slumpy. I did decide that I'm going to start DNFing again. If I'm not in the mood for it, like, oh, I got this and this, but I'm not in the mood, I'll put it down. But I think the best point for me to DNF is 50 pages to 100. That way, because I read a book and I wasn't going to DNF it. I just thought the first half wasn't so edited or written well. Get to the second half of that book and it became a 4. It was probably a 3. Got to the second half and it was edited so much better. The writing was so much better in the second half of that book, and it was a small book that it was a 4-star. So I think at least getting to 100 pages and seeing, or even 150, just seeing how the first part kind of gets and then get to the middle and then decide, I think that's going to take so much pressure off myself to do that for my back. I had to cut myself off because I went on a rant. So another thing I want to do is on my Goodreads, I have, like I said, I have my TBR shelf that's been at 80. My want to read that I don't own these books, they're backlists or what the releases that haven't come out yet. I need to get to those because I want that shelf to lower because it gets higher each year with new releases. So I'm going to go through the shelf, any backlist books that I don't want to read, I'm taking off. And I have taken off a bunch, but I'm pretty close to $3.95 right now. So and there's going to be more releases that I haven't even got to this year or to add on to Goodreads that I want to read. I think doing my best to get to some backlist and getting that down or taking books off that I don't think I'll ever get to, because there's only so much time I'm gonna live, and I'm not gonna pressure myself to read every single thing, only things that I'm highly interested in. So that is it for my reading goals for 2023. I would love to hear some of yours. How was your readings in 2022? I'd love to hear that as well. That is it for day 22 of Bookmas. I will see you in day 23. Bye for now.